Yeah, I guess indeed. Although my alter ego is not taking over, I am taking over. It's Don. Welcome to Superhero Speak. I am your lone host tonight, going Han Solo mode, as it were. But I definitely think we'll have some fun. So please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Engaged. That certainly helps our channel. You'll hear that more than once tonight. But welcome everyone, and everyone that's new. Certainly welcome on all our platforms. Hopefully, got a good show for you tonight. No one is here to ask me how I'm doing, which is fine. Been doing great. A lot of good stuff coming out. But let's really get right to why we're here is the goings on in the world of the nerd news. All right, indeed. Not sure if you heard. Let me know what you think in the comments. But Netflix is going to bring the Power Rangers back. Now, I know there was a recent movie, although how recent that is, I don't know. I didn't watch it. I know it wasn't really received well. Although my brother Volsker, who is probably the biggest Power Ranger guy that I know, said it was pretty good. But nonetheless, there hasn't been another one. There's no Power Ranger universe. We haven't made it to the Dragon Zord or anything like that, Sepultura. So it's a flop. So they're going to do it on Netflix. Um, you know, Power Rangers was kind of a guilty pleasure for me when it came out. I was a little bit old to be watching it, but I was a big Voltron fan. And I'm a big, robot combining, transforming fan anyway. So watch that. And plus there's Kimberly, watch that before school. Why not? Plus, their suits, the colors matched their Zords, which is actually kind of one annoying thing about the Lion Voltron series. As much as I love it, only two out of the five pilots have the same color suit on as the Lions, and that's Pidge with the green and the green line and lion, and Hunk wears yellow and he's in the yellow line. Otherwise, from the get go, you know, Keith's wearing the red. I don't know if he somehow decided after he put that on that he wanted to lead Lions, so they're running down the tunnel. He gets in there first, and that just throws everything off. But anyway, as much as I love Voltron, one thing that annoyed me. So one thing that was cool about Power Rangers. So what do you think? Should they bring that back? Should they try it again? Did you like the movie reboot that obviously didn't reboot or boot anything up? I can't. I mean, I can't say no to giant robots and kung fu fighting. With Netflix though, and we'll kind of get into this in a little bit here, but seems like it may be a good revival tool. Um, but I hope that it's well written. Or what if it's for kids, like totally cheesy, just like the original, Fox Kids, uh, Power Rangers were. Would you still watch it? I'd say I would because I really didn't care about any aspect of the Power Rangers outside of Kimberly, with you know her and the robot battles. That's it. I remember getting really pissed off because I think like the second episode they go against some pig monster and they didn't even use any of their Zords or anything. They just kind of combined their weapons into a big crossbow and shot them and killed them or whatever that happens in that universe when you get hit by a big fucking glowing beam. I was like, oh, what a ripoff. Like I'm here for the episodic reason to get out your big mechanical destruction machines, combine them, call out a sword or something, slice a big monster every week, every episode. But anyway, so I'm excited. I think this is one of these properties that has kind of lasted the test of time. And I didn't see the movie, but one thing that did kind of throw me off is I really didn't think they looked like the Power Rangers. I dropped off of Power Rangers around like the Zeo time. That's when I kind of started concentrating more on getting laid. But one thing also, other than that, that kind of pushed me away was, their suits and everything became very streamlined and just not interesting compared to, the Dinozord suits. So, the dragon, the Green Ranger, obviously the ultimate, the Dragon Zord. I mean, props to the White Ranger. That's cool too. Sabu the Talking Sword and the White Lion Zord. But hey, Kasan, checking in with us. Hello, solo show. That's right. Dave, the boss, is having a cheer you up dinner with his lady. And so I wish them both the best. So, yeah, I figure I get on here, do a couple news items here, like the Power Rangers coming back on Netflix. And so, yeah, probably not going to be an hour or so, but give you a little bit of combo here. So, yeah, anyone can jump on in here. So, I was talking about Netflix, Craven, which is a movie I've never seen, Craven the Hunter. It's actually like number 2 on Netflix right now. It has found a resurgence on the streaming platform. And there could be several reasons for this. I'm interested to hear, what you have to say out there. My thoughts would be, I know Netflix did kind of like a crackdown on, everyone having their parents, Netflix account password. But I don't think that measure was fully successful. I'll only go so far as to say that, I have evidence. But anyway, so I think there's just a lot of people on Netflix. And yeah, why not if it's free? I may watch it. I don't know. Of course, Kasan here may help me decide. I watched it. Terrible writing, good action, terrible acting. 3 out of 10. So, all right, yeah. Kasan definitely not giving me reason to check that out. As a video gamer, it's always kind of easy to find something to do other than watch some, shitty Spider-Man adjacent movie. However, with that said, if you're on Netflix, I guess odds are you're watching it because it's doing pretty good there on the charts. And then our last story, so now we're going to deal with the Punisher, is revealed that John Bernthal, I think that's how you say his name, initially walked away from the Punisher because of the direction that they were going to take with him. Now, since then, they've changed showrunner, who's more familiar with the character, and because of that change and the direction that that new leader wants to go, he's obviously re-engaged with the role. So, elephant in the room. I'm not going to talk Daredevil tonight because Dave's not with me. So we're going to save that for the Sunday show. But nonetheless, if you watch that, you kind of know if you know. But looks like he initially walked away from the role. And what I like, and don't get me wrong, because I think it's brave, right? I think it's pretty brave for any actor in the MCU to, take a stand like this because we know from early Marvel, with the War Machine recast, even though there are people that they should recast and they don't, but you know, there's a good chance that if you're an actor and you go up to Marvel and be like, no, I don't want to do this, and they're just going to be like,
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
And then poof, recast. But he stuck to his guns. He stuck to his guns, and he's back. And I have to admire the quality that we see when someone like this has passion enough for a character and for their established lore, in whatever the source material, like kind of Henry Cavill doing with the Witcher, which look at that. I still haven't finished season 3 or whatever it is, like, and he's still in it, but it's just like, he's not in it. I don't care about this Hemsworth guy. I don't think he's going to do as good as job because Henry Cavill's doing such a great job, because he's such a Witcher fan. He's a super nerd. Everybody knows that. There's no new Flash. So, anywho, yeah. So interesting that it's hard to imagine anyone that would walk away from a big Marvel role, but appreciate sticking with your guns, using your integrity there. So great job. All right, I know we're burning through it here, but I'm only one person. Definitely love to see your comments. Maybe after I run through everything, we'll do a QA, whatever. We'll see. But it's okay. Just want to touch base with you in the middle of the week here. That way you're not on an island. You got a little touch until our weekend show. So halfway through the work week. And thank you for, again, just giving us the chance here. Of course, other than the audience here, I would love to be able to promote a great product. Now, I don't have that privilege just yet. So what I'll do is do some shameless self promotion. All right. So we'll be right back. Darth Don here. And you must subscribe to Superhero Speak if you haven't already. And if you have already, make another account and subscribe again. You also will like this video. While you're on the HoloNet, go to superheroespeak.com. Find the links to our merch and purchase one of our shirts. Don't skimp on the shipping, or else I will trap you in a box with an agitated gundog named Brie Lawson. I would just force lightning you, but we don't have that in the effects budget. Now, back to the show. Yeah, back to the show indeed. So what am I going to talk about today, I wonder, for the main topic here as we are done with the news. And this is what I want to talk about. Here's our main topic is that I think everybody, or at least what most people are getting wrong about the fact that Final Fantasy 16 was a flop. Now, it's hard to find concrete numbers, but there's enough information out there that it can be assumed that it took about $300 million to make this game. Big budget, Square Enix flagship RPG title. Boom, 300 million between the development cost, marketing, and all that. It initially sells like 3 million copies. And then since then, it has sold 500,000, which tells you right then and there it's not a good game. My history with Final Fantasy, I was there from the beginning, from the 8-bit days. A little bit on the young side for the first game. Had a friend that was real smarter, kind of played through it, and I watched him played a little bit. Of course, as an American, we didn't get the second or third game. I mean, they've been re-released, remastered 18 times since then. So I mean, they're definitely available. But just in my life, in my progression, it just wasn't there. Final Fantasy IV comes out on the Super Nintendo, way increased graphics, 5 party members, wonderful music, story that at the time, at that age, and at the time, a video game was just out of this world. That's my Final Fantasy. And that's really what, so I'll never make that proclamation like this Final Fantasy is the best Final Fantasy because when it comes to Final Fantasy fandom, a lot of F's there, um, the one that kind of you experience fully the first time is going to be your Final Fantasy. Some people, their first entry may have been Final Fantasy X. But I'll say that as far as my personal history of Final Fantasy goes, I played, you know, all of them 1 through 10, and they're great. Now, 1, 2, and 3, there were some technical limitations, 8-bit error that, okay, they're kind of drop off there. But other than that, oh, and 8, I hate. I'm sorry. But it's a whole nother topic. After that, 11, it was like, okay, because I love 10, by the way. 9 and 10. I mean, really, 8 was a little bit of I just don't like the leveling system. The story's not great. Junction system, bleh, just a lot. But again, love 9, love 10. 11 is an MMO. 12 comes out. I play it, beat it, hate it. Because although it's kind of got like a fantasy aesthetic, uh, fucking Bahamut and Leviathan are like just spaceships, which is bullshit. 12, I think, is the super linear one, which I just at that point I was checked out. 14, I think, is the MMO. I think I may be switching those two. 15, I bought, played, and beat. It was fucking trash, but I wanted to be, I'm like, I love Final Fantasy. This is mainline Final Fantasy. Like, I got it. The main problem with that game is the character designs, particularly for the main party itself. And party, I'm going to use that word loosely here. Yeah, the whole boy band goth aesthetic is it just didn't do it for me. And the cardinal sin, you don't really control the other party members. You just control Noctis. $300 million is ridiculous for a budget. Love Final Fantasy 9. Absolutely. Carnage 9 was the best. Vivi for the win. Definitely a great character. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles for the GameCube. Absolutely. Good stuff. Good stuff all around. All right. So now, before I move on from 15, let me say, as someone that actually beat the whole fucking game, and just was really not liking it, there were some good points. The monsters looked great. So all the famous Final Fantasy monsters, staples of the series, were all in their glory. That was awesome. Um, but that was it, really. That was the only thing that I could really enjoy from that game. Was the monsters look cool. They showed better character design. There was a dragoon lady that even joined your party for a short while. She had this cool dragoon armor, but I don't know. Everybody else was in some just goth boy band garb. Just yeah, it did not scream like heroes, adventure. You even end up pushing your car for a while, which is a really annoying thing that AAA games do nowadays, where you literally have a mission and you're just pushing something or crawling along the ground or walking with your wounded leg. Yeah, it's just like, oh, come on. This isn't fun. This isn't at all interesting, not engaging. I'm literally just doing this to get to the next part. Well, I digress. Um, Final Fantasy 16 comes out. Okay, I've still not played it, and we'll go through why here in a little bit. But The thing that I'm going to disagree with everyone's assessment of why this game flopped is everyone, not everyone, I keep saying that, but a lot of the things I read, they mentioned really two things. The lesser thing being the marketing. You know, I'm sure someone else has said this, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. I don't care how much you market a turd, aka polish a turd, it's still a turd. So I don't really, I already just don't believe that. But the bigger one is the fact that it was exclusive to PlayStation 5. Um, Exclusivity in general. And I know since then it's dropped on a couple other consoles and whatnot. And I'm also going to just say fi on that. You know that I don't believe that's true because again I've been around for a while, and much of that time, you know, I've gotten to live, breathe, and see and experience the evolution of video games. And I can tell you that you make a great game, it will sell your system. It's happened many times before, and the fact that that's not happening is an indictment on the industry and nothing else. You know, as Kassan points out, needing $300 million to make a game is absolutely ridiculous. When when it comes to like Final Fantasies and RPGs, you could, you know, and this is why Nintendo does such a great job because you know they don't focus on like using every little bit of power the system has. They focus on making the gameplay smooth, you know, a great fun experience without bugs. You know, it looks great, but video games should be more of an art form. It shouldn't be, hey, this is, you always have to be hyper realistic. You always have to have realistic shading and lighting and use a route tracing, whatever the fuck else is out there when it comes to video processing. You know, just make it art. Make it look cool. You know, I think the last Zelda, which I'm actually currently playing through, the Echoes of Wisdom. You know, obviously we went from Tears of the Kingdom and before that Breath of the Wild, a little bit more realistic graphics, and now we're back to the kitty and bubbly. But the game's fun as shit. Everyone in my family has enjoyed it so far. So, you know, who's winning? Shit like that. So anyway, let's but my main so anyway so my main thing is I think they're wrong about that. Okay, the fact that there wasn't marketing or that because it was exclusive to PlayStation, no. If it was good, believe me, and if it was this great epic Final Fantasy game that we should be getting these days with all the power that we do have, let's not worry about graphics, let's worry about depth of the game and the gameplay and the story, right? But no, we can't look forward to that. And it's not because of exclusivity, it's because Final Fantasy 16, it's not Final Fantasy without party members. Final Fantasy 15, before that you had party members, you could barely control them, and I was pretty much done with that. But but now this is just let's look at some footage here. This is the just a little bit of fighting here. Uh you know, this is like Devil May Cry, you know, Devil May Cry, Final Fantasy, Gaiden, you know? I mean, I love those games. Don't get me wrong. I love those types of games, but not what I want from my Final Fantasy. And I don't like how this should be brighter. It looks like there's like Vaseline like smeared on the camera that shot this. And of course it wasn't shot by a camera. I can't even tell like that guy looks, is it a wall or a dude or both? But anyway, my main thing though is the fighting system. Now, yeah, I like turn based, but I don't require it. Look at Final Fantasy Remake and Rebirth, which I like those games a lot. Still pissed off that I didn't get my one for one Final Fantasy VII Remake. Not super into the whole spoiler alert multiverse ish thing on that, as you all know. Um, but the gameplay and the way it looks, by the way, too, but the gameplay is certainly not any complaint I have. Because, yes, it's fast action combat, it's not turn based, but you do have multiple party members and you can slow down the action so much that you have time if you need to go through some menus. Switch to a party member. You can control them or just give them directions on what to do, but the game allows you to slow it down so much that you know you can you can do what you need to do in the menus when you're trying to strategize this boss battle. I think it's actually the perfect system for RPGs and the perfect blend of like action, turn-based strategy, combat, that we can have in modern RPGs. And it's because of that it doesn't feel like Final Fantasy. You don't have a party of adventurers. You've got a third person action adventure hack and slash. I'm sure, and again, I haven't played it, so I'm sure the story is decent, but it's not a Final Fantasy. And don't get me wrong, I've heard of people that enjoy it. And again, for that genre of game, absolutely, it looked great. I'm sure it's kind of quality, but for Final Fantasy, just having one dude roll around, no party members, nothing, and then Vaseline all over the graphics to boot. I just don't get it. Am I wrong? Have you played Final Fantasy 16? Do you enjoy it? I mean, unfortunately, the numbers kind of agree with me, hence why I'm taking this stance. I mean, nothing else sells not a good product like, hey, boom, 3 million, and then, you know, and right there, so I mean, 3.5 million copies sold. I think that's maybe like 200,000, somewhere around there. Had to have lost money. Such a God, I could, Square used to be just such a banging company. And it really seems like ever since Square and Enix formed, that outside of like remaking their old shit, Final Fantasy has just sucked. The Dragon Quests have been cool, right? What the ones that Enix used to do. So their Dragon Quest shit slaps. It's awesome. But on the Square side, other than remaking shit, you know, I don't know. I really don't get Square because like Final Fantasy Tactics, Exhibit A. There's only one Final Fantasy Tactics. The title that basically created or established like the grid battle RPG system, they never did a sequel. They remade it. I mean, and when I say remade, like they made it available for the iOS. Yeah, yeah, I got you there, Kasan. So yeah, that's even worse. That's about 150 million, Kasan says, as far as money made by Final Fantasy 16. I mean, listen, I thought companies were supposed to make money. Like, who is consulting, the executives of Square Enix that, like, I mean, change is fine. No, none of the Final Fantasy main lines are exactly the same. It's always a game that has evolved, whether it be, how it looks visually, or introducing a new mechanic or new battle system. Some of them lamer than others, and I'm looking at you, Magic Draw System from Final Fantasy VIII. I mean, you really are putrid. I mean, I really do hope and think
They deserve to die, and I hope they burn in hell.
trying to get all of them in tonight since I'm on solo mode. Uh, Sad state of affairs because I want to play a good Final Fantasy. You know, I'm a big fan of the fantasy aesthetic, but I don't mind little magic mechanisms, little magitech, if you would. I guess you know, Final Fantasy VI. That was a fun game. I like that. I like that universe and all the magitech machinery and shit. That was so cool. It wasn't like 100% fantasy, but still had a lot of fantasy elements. So I don't know. I miss my I miss my Final Fantasy franchise. I mean, don't get me wrong. All the old shit's still there and has been remade 18 times. So it's not like I can't do that. Can't complain too much. But it would really would be cool to just have this like massive balls to the wall, not graphically, but storyline, mechanics, side quest, just go all out like a Final Fantasy should. Kassan says I never played Final Fantasy 16, but the way you describe it, they try to incorporate the God of War point of view. Yes. Yes, definitely God of War, Final Fantasy. God of Final Fantasy. That's what I'll nickname it. Final Fantasy 16. Final Fantasy God. I don't know, whatever. It is what it is. I mean, money talks. Money talks. I can see the Rumble comments. As the boss checking in, can you see Rumble comments? Yes, I can. So San says, meanwhile, Baldur's Gate 3 stuck to their guns and kept the party and turn based system. Look at how much they sold. Absolutely. Kassan, my friend, that is what one would call case in point. Hmm? Thank you for that, sir. All right, well that's all I had. I did a half hour. It was only me. Oh, here we go. So yeah, let's just go to comments until I guess we're done with that. Any questions you have? Definitely enjoy your engagement. Carnage Shady says, "Wish Legend of Dragoon made a sequel." Hell to the yeah, absolutely. And if we, you know, that would be just wonderful. Certainly enjoying my Suikoden remaster, which is awesome. So I guess I'm certainly in the mood for RPGs, and that's why I wanted to talk about it tonight since the boss is away. Kassan says also Baldur's Gate 3 had a great storyline, great quality project, and great replayability. Absolutely. And they better because that's a pretty sacred franchise in my eyes. Dave says there's 3 people watching on Rumble. Awesome. All right. Well, welcome on Rumble. Tell your friends. I am the man. Yes. The man. That's me. Thanks, Dave. James Burton says, I agree, and it's not just Square. This infection of storytelling incompetence infects most high end entertainment. I know, and here we are. We're supposed to be, in some end stage capitalism. So why is the money not talking here? We're telling them how to put green in their pocket. San says, I think Japan has a hard time trying to create games for the West. They had the most success when they just create a game without a target. I think that may be a problem. Don't make a game for the West. Just make a game. And obviously, the West likes that culture in general. So I don't know if I'm Japan, I'm not worried about that. Do what Nintendo does. Worry about making a fun game that everyone will enjoy. Works for them, can work for you too. All right. Well, hey, like I said, that's all I got, guys. Solo mode, I think was pretty successful. Speaking of success, Kasan says God of War was a huge success with the West. I think Square tried to copy their game plan and fell on their face. Well, I mean, they could have done that with not Final Fantasy. I guess that it can kind of be a common thing. Like, if you want to if you want to parody something and make a success, don't take what you already have that's successful and warp it to that. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have said end stage capitalism. Here we go. James Burton, because end stage capitalism is based on reward versus cost, employing a storytelling badass like one of the head manga Kai to create a game storyline would result in sharing profits. Indeed. Dave says I'm a super stud and he's so proud. Well, I'm going to tell my wife that and maybe I'll get a kiss. If you're streaming tonight, blast it now so people can watch. Honestly, don't think so. I actually have to run a stupid errand after I get off here. So, but that is a great point, Kasan. So thank you. Um, you should check out Superhero Speaks Discord. I do randomly stream games, currently playing through Suikoden 1. And when I don't do that, playing Marvel Rivals. Kasan has witnessed that and can attest. So you just have to kind of go on there randomly. Although I was talking with Dave, and I think I'm going to kind of at least let him know so he could throw it out to the Twitter at Superhero Speak, of course, or the X. I'm sorry, which I really should embrace that. X, like X-Men. I'm like, hell yeah. I don't know why I don't embrace that more. I don't know. It started out as Twitter, and it's difficult. But yeah, I'll let Dave know, so he can blast that on the. But it's kind of be a random thing with me. It honestly can be. But check it out. Post questions in there. There's a chat and stuff. Post questions in there and pick some stuff, and so. Kasan says, "Yeah, I noticed the more I chat with you, the more you die." Yeah, at least with Marvel Rivals, like there's a competitive game, so you really do have to have focus. So no, he says, Kasan says there may be a curse. No, sir, you're not a curse. I just only have one brain. So there you go. Still worth it. Drop on by, say hi. But to Kasan's point, I guess if I like, I'll tell you what it looks like if I'm playing and I'm like leaning back like this. I'm kind of that's my you know that's my backwards hat mode. Don't know if you all remember Sylvester Stallone movie called Over the Top, where he used to put his backwards hat to win the match. So that's kind of my I don't know the gaming lean competitive gaming lean. All right, hey, Kasan, Dave, Boss, James, Carnage, everyone, thank you. I'm gonna shove off here. Yeah, arm wrestler movie called Over the Top, starred Sylvester Stallone. I even think Terry Funk, the wrestler, was in that movie too. So, all right, I guess before I go though, we will do the whole, what did you learn on the show tonight?
What did we learn on the show tonight?
All right, so what I learned on the show tonight is that I can apparently run my mouth for about 40 minutes. So hey, congrats on me. Congrats on me. All right, everyone, have a great night. Like and subscribe. Hit the notifications. Every time you do that, we feed the Brie Larson Gun Dark. Have a great night.
you haven't done so yet, subscribe. It really keeps this podcast alive. Smash the like button if you please. It gives us what we need. Maybe leave a comment or two. It's a really nice thing to do. And what are